Good evening, Mr. Peter Faith.
Good evening.
Okay, thank you for your time, first of all.
Please, I'm delighted to speak to RTK again.
Thank you very much. Mr. Faith, how do you see the recent statement of the specialist prosecutors of Kosovo that it has submitted a draft indictment against Kosovo's President Taci and PDK leader Veseli and others? What impact it has on Kosovo's politics?
Well, I've noted this statement, but I haven't seen the indictment. I'm not aware of accusations against President Taci and Kadri Veseli and others. So it's difficult for me to give you a judgment or an impression of what is involved here. But I know that anything that has to do with the armed struggle in 1998, 1999 in Kosovo is very sensitive to the people of Kosovo. They take, understandably and justifiably, great pride in what has been achieved by the fighters of the KLA.
You have worked with Mr. Thaci for many years. What has been his role in Kosovo and how will this be affected by this statement and potential indictment?
Well, I had the privilege of working with Mr. Thaci in the 4 years immediately following the Declaration of Independence between 2008 and 2012. Hashim Thaci was then Prime Minister of Kosovo. We had very close cooperation because my colleagues and I worked with him on the basis of the principle that he is presumed innocent unless decided otherwise. So we could move forward, supported by the states that have recognized Kosovo and that support the independence. And I think we made great progress in establishing the institutions of Kosovo state and moving Kosovo also closer to the European Union.
Mr. Faith, you have been involved on Kosovo's independence since the early days of its declaration. What has done Kosovo to foster reconciliation and what was the role of Thaci to build bridges with the Serbian community?
Well, within Kosovo, Prime Minister Thaci and my office worked closely together in implementing the Ahtisaari provisions that were agreed before Kosovo became independent and was really at the basis of the period of supervision. And one of the key provisions, I should say, was to respect the community rights of the Serb communities within Kosovo. And in that context, we achieved a number of things, including establishing new municipalities, linking the north of Kosovo to Pristina, and ensuring that Serb citizens of Kosovo were representing in various institutions and agencies, including RTK.
Okay, there is a lot of talking about impunity for war crimes committed by Serbia or attempts to rewrite the history. Has the international community done enough to bring war crimes actors to justice?
No, I think there is still work to be done, and I think it is important work because ultimately it will help us and the people of Kosovo and of Serbia to achieve reconciliation. It is important that each individual assumes responsibility for deeds, acts committed during the period of violence. And in that sense, I think that the step taken by President Taci to have a first meeting with the prosecutors in The Hague is to be applauded. And he should be encouraged, I think, to continue working closely with the tribunal, because in that way, Kosovo can free itself of any collective guilt for anything that may have happened during the armed struggle.
Are the specialist chamber able to deliver justice if they ignore many war crimes committed during the mandate of the court in 98 and 99? Does it help to have a monoethnic focus as a court and prosecutor?
Well, that's difficult to answer that question. I think it is important that witnesses come forward and tell their story. We need to go through a painful process. I say it is painful because it is sensitive of finding the truth. And there should, all witnesses who were present and involved in the liberation struggle should be free to tell their stories. In that way, again, we can find the truth and we can move closer to reconciliation. This is not going to be easy. It may take more time and there may be resistance, but I think ultimately for the future of Kosovo and the future generations of citizens in Kosovo, this is the best way forward, and this is progress.
I have one more question, Mr. Faith. You were in Kosovo when the Dick Marty report came out. How have you seen it, and what are your thoughts on the report and its impact on Kosovo's standing and image?
Well, I remember having read the report, and we will have to hear more about it. There are some doubts, as you may know. Technically, it's doubtful if any technical installations and arrangements can be established in the areas in and around Kosovo for trafficking of organ transplantation. But again, this is something that the court in The Hague needs to take a view on. And it is not for me to pass a judgment at this moment.
Mr. Peter Faith, thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you.